What's up, you jackwagons? I am Speed Fury, and yes, I promised to do the 4 Transformers reviews yesterday, but I got really tired, and YouTube wouldn't let me upload any more videos. So, today we are doing a review on Snapdragon. And for those of you guys who don't know who Snapdragon is, don't worry, I didn't either until I found out about him. And I've been wanting to get him ever since. Snapdragon is 2 things: a triple changer and a headmaster. For those of you who are too young to know what a headmaster is, a headmaster means that their head is a separate robot. Their head's like their partner. I honestly don't know how that works. Like how I'll get into the details later. I've seen the original headmasters on the TV show, not the anime, but the headmasters arc with the G1 Transformers TV show. Anyway, for starters, I love this figure. He's very G1 based. I don't really remember this character from G1 that well. I know he was in it at some point. I just don't remember. I wonder if I think he might be one of the Terracons. I'm not sure. But oh, 1 second. I need to close this up because that looks weird. Come on. There we go. That's better. You probably couldn't see that, but I could. But for starters, he's got a... How do I usually start these again? Who cares? So for starters, he's mostly purple and black with a little bit of white mixed in there, which I actually think is it's a pretty cool combination in my opinion. He's only got like a little bit of blue, like right here, some right there, or maybe that's more of a turquoise color. I honestly don't know what else I'm supposed to say. I don't really remember this character that well. Like every other Transformer I've got, I know in some way because I actually paid attention to those characters more often than like most of the background Decepticons. So I can't really say I know this guy too well, but I do love the toy and all overall. But let's move into articulation wise before we get anything else done. I'll talk about the flaws later. So articulation, his shoulder can move all the way in 360 degrees. His arm can move forward only that far and back that far, so he's got a little bit of limitations with his arms. But his elbow can do a complete 360 swivel as well. His hand does not move due to transformation. I don't know why they couldn't have this move, but it's not my problem. I guess that's one of the flaws already right there. His leg can go forward that far, exactly at a right angle, and back about that far, not as far as the... 1 second, let me move his head. Not as far as the forward function, but that's because of this little back piece. And then for his leg bending, his leg can also come out like this, and then come in like that. He can spin for any reason you would want it to spin. His leg can bend forward that far, and back this far. His head is, technically it's not a ball joint, I'll explain what it is later, but it can look up. 1 second. It can look up. It can look down somewhat. And it can do a whole 360. These little windows right here, they do come open, but that's for one of his alternate modes. His leg, his feet, they move back and forth. This is due to transformation, but that's still helpful. And then they can also do this, so that he can, like, you can put him in different positions and stuff. He can go all the way in like that, in case you need to. So he can, like, do the sprattles. If I just do this, and this, boom. Now his man parts are in excruciating pain. If he had man parts, because he's a Cybertronian, not a human. Now let's talk about like the small flaws in this. One of them being the head in general. The head, it has a little bit limitability because of the fact that, well, it's not a regular head, but also has a bunch of bonuses due to that, like so. And yes, that's supposed to come off. That's why he's called a headmaster. So the part that he kind of like spins on is actually the head of another Transformer. This is what a headmaster is, for those of you who don't know. Those of you who do know, I don't think I need to explain much, but I will for anyone who doesn't. This means he turns into a smaller robot. Headmasters had partners and everything, and the partner usually became the head. There was also target masters, which turned into guns over heads. But that's probably like one of the only flaws, besides one other flaw that I need to address. The fact that his arms do not bend very well. They go that far and that's it. So it's kind of like limited posability for him, which really sucks. And then there's also the fact that the hands don't spin, which would have been really useful, but unfortunately they don't do that. Everything else though, the legs are fine. Everything else is just fine. This is a good figure. It is one that I would recommend picking up. Just be prepared that it's not going to be like the perfect figure like all the other ones I recommended people getting. But with all this out of the way, let's check out his transformation. So first things first, let's take off his head, and we actually need to transform Krunk. That's the name of the head, by the way, is Krunk. Or the headmaster. We move his hands up. Ooh, I messed with that a little bit. And then have his legs right about like that. We have it like that for a reason, because of the transformation we're going for. The first transformation we're doing. Let me fix the camera. So first things first, we are actually going to be doing his first one of his 2 alternate modes. He has 2. For those of you who didn't know already, he has 2. He has this mode right here. 1 second, let me move this out of the way. He has this dinosaur mode, and he has this jet mode. And we're doing the dinosaur mode first. Now, let's go ahead and start by taking his legs right here. We want to actually bring him back. He's kind of like Grimlock, where his legs become his hands. His legs become his arms, or vice versa. But in this case, he doesn't go forward when he doesn't like bend down on his hands and knees when he's transforming. He kind of like goes for a whole back bend thing, and we just like kind of fold out his feet, just like that. Now, what we want to do after that is actually have to spin his feet around. So this is kind of what he's going to look like this is kind of like the front of his head's going to be like right here, and then this is going to be his tail and stuff. Anyway, next thing we want to do, come right here, fold in his legs. 1 second. My parents with the worst timing. Anyway, if you didn't catch that, fold in the feet. And then we take these things back here, pull them out until they're just right about there on both of them. And then we're going to turn these sideways and push them together. But then after that, we come down here and lift this part like that. Just lift it like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take right here and pull this up a little bit. And we will take this part right here and pull it up. And this is like his chest, if you didn't know. It's his chest in robot mode. We are going to then move this and pull it back. So this was up here. This piece right here was up here. And now we just moved it down here. And we're just gonna I guess we need to move his hands, his little arm right there out of the way. Okay. Let's see, come on. 1 second, I can move his arm a little bit more, both of them. Okay. So what you're going to do here is you're actually going to connect these little pieces right here. You can see that right there. It's part of the shoulders. And you're going to actually push these into his chest. Like this. And as you keep doing that, there's like 2 little tabs right here on the back of his torso that are supposed to clip in. And so it's going to look like that when you're done. It took me actually a while to figure that out. And so for his arms, we just need to move this like that, and then pull these down. His little tiny T-Rex arms. So that's where you should be at. Ooh. With that, bend his... Ooh, I felt something just pop out. Yes, it did. 1 second, let me fix that. There we go. Alright, so it's going to look like that. And yes, the head is still gonna be just like that. Oh, also, let me real quick rotate his head around. The little miniature head. You gotta rotate this so it's backwards. Okay, just like that. You might have to use your teeth or something because it's actually pretty hard to get a hold of. I'm gonna move his arms down a little bit more so it doesn't look as weird. Then we are going to open up this little compartment right here, just like that. And you can use your thumb or whatever you need to get this out of here. Just kind of like flip this out of here like that, and pull up the T-Rex head. Now you're gonna want to pull it up about at least about that much. Close this up too while you're at it. And his head, this little Krunk's head, is going to go inside this little black thing right here. And you want it turned around because it won't slip in as easily if you don't, and it might break it. Come on. Hold on a second. There we go. It's hard to slip in, like I said. That's why you want to try and do it to the best of your abilities. Had to get it up, had to get that on off screen a little bit. There you go. There's his underjaw. There's his little underjaw thing. It's kind of what you want it to look like. His legs the legs of Krunk kind of become his mouth. Also, if you didn't know this specific thing right here, his Krunk's arms actually become the red in his eyes in this mode. For some reason, it doesn't show up as well over here. Oh, I guess it did this time, but not fully. Anyway. So there he is, in his dino mode of specifics. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like the way the mouth is like put in. He looks like he's got an underbite. It looks kind of weird. I guess also I prefer to keep him kind of like this, kind of like how a regular T-Rex is, because it looks better. And plus, he can actually look forward. When he's like this, he's always constantly looking up, and it looks weird. I mean, you can arch the neck if you want, but then there's like a little gap right here that's kind of annoying. But so I just keep his head like this, and then move his legs. Oh, second, and then move his legs forward. And yes, he does balance just fine when he's like this, because his tail might be heavier than the rest of his body, but these little wings kind of like stick out right here and block him from actually tipping over. But yeah, here's his Dinobot mode, or his dinosaur mode, or whatever this is. What's it actually called on the back? It does not say. Anyway, but all in all, this one's my favorite mode out of the two. I'm gonna be honest. This is my favorite mode. I like the way it's designed and everything. Hold on a second. I actually might need to move his head a little bit. Move that back. Push this down. If you want to, you can. His head does actually move a little bit, Krunk's, so you can adjust his head so that it actually fits in there a little bit better. If it would stop coming out, his head, his jaw, it's clear over there. You stupid little Krunk, come here. We just adjust his arm so that his head stays into the proper position. There. That's more like it. We just arch his head back down. And now it looks better. There we go. That's a lot better, in my opinion. But now let's get on to articulation for this. His legs, once again, these are his arms in robot mode, so they just kind of like do the same thing. 360 and the same articulation as before. Fix his tail a little bit. There we go. His tail does not move whatsoever. It stays just like that. Except for the very end right here. It just goes back and forth like that. This does not want to stay together. That's another little thing that you can nitpick at if you want. Head arches multiple different ways. I usually just keep it like this because it doesn't look as weird. You can move it down. You can move the head if you want, but it just looks weird. You can move the jaw as well. I usually just keep it like that. The arms can move up here, and then just like that. Then come down here, and up like that. And that's pretty much it for the articulation for his dyno mode. It's not as much articulation as his robot mode, but it's fine, I guess. Oh, I forgot to mention, he has these two blasters, and they of course just attach to his hands in robot mode, and in Dinobot mode, or Dino mode, I guess, T-Rex mode, let's just call it that. It's actually called Dino Lizard for some reason, and they just attach right there on his back, which looks pretty cool in my opinion, like dinosaur with cannons on his back. It looks kind of like Mechagodzilla, if I'm being honest. But now that that's out of the way, let's get on to his transformation into his vehicle mode, which is his final of the two. So what we're going to do here, first things first, straighten out his tail. Just like that. And then we need to actually open this back up, open his chest back up, bring it up here, and bring his back piece back here. But now instead of, actually we're not going to put the back piece back here. We're actually going to take this little black part right here and arch it down so that it clicks in right there. And then we will fold his feet in on both sides. I'm just doing this slowly, and then fold out the little white wing parts, just like that. And we do the same on the other side. And then we're going to connect there's like little tabs right there. That's going to connect into these little things right there. Just push that in, just like that, on both sides. Come on. There we go. And there's those are the wings of the ship. Now we are going to take we're going to take his legs and move them up like this. They'll have less struggle. You'll have less struggle with them trying to come apart all the time. That's kind of like the only nitpick there is about this figure at all. And then we just push that on there. There's the top of the ship. Now for the other parts, we're going to take his dino arms, push them into each other, kind of like that, so they're back into the places they need to be in, and then just rotate them back into this little hiding position that they were in before. Stupid thing. There we go. Just like that. And before we take out the chest, we need to take out Krunk out of his place and put his head in and flip his head in just like that. And close that up. And then we'll just attach this into here, just in the exact same spot it was before. And here is, oh, and it's like, let me pull out his landing gear. There we go. And there is his jet mode. Let me move the box out of the way a little bit. As for the jet mode's really cool as well. Or whatever this is. I think it's more along the lines of a space shuttle or something. Oh, there we go. But it's really cool, in my opinion. It's one of my more favorite vehicle modes. And of course, you can take his two blasters and plug them in under here in traditional Transformer style, where all the blasters go for the flying characters, right under the wings. And before anything else, there is a spot for Krunk. He doesn't have to. You don't have to worry about losing him when you transform him. Just keep that in mind if you want to make sure you don't actually lose him. So you got to open these things up, which is actually pretty hard. I actually got to pop open this little section so I can open them up easier. There we go. Got it open. Anyway, just pull this thing up. Just pull these parts apart right here so that you can get him in there easier, and then just like stick him in there. And there he is, and then just close it up. And that'll make sure that you don't lose him. And so you don't have to go around with a headless Snapdragon. There we go. Close it up. Now, this vehicle mode doesn't really have that much Articulation, it doesn't have, like, any articulation, if I'm being honest. That's supposed to do that? One second. It looks weird. It looks kind of like that's bent in. This one doesn't like that. What is that doing that for? Oh, wait. One second. There we go. Fixed it. Now it's in the right position. That was weird. Anyway, not much articulation on this ship, unless you want to give it the snoot droop from that funny anime meme, or from that funny meme that's on the internet. And then there's also the little landing gear, which gets stuck every now and then and annoys the heck out of me. There we go. That just goes in and out just like that. And that's pretty much all there is for, like, the articulation of this figure. So I'm going to... But when it comes to rating, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm giving this rating overall a 7 out of 10. And that's due to the fact that the robot mode isn't as functional as I would like it to be. I still like the figure a lot. I just wish that the robot mode was more functional with the arms and with the head and everything. Because his hands don't turn like that. His arms can only go like about maybe half a 90-degree angle, which is really annoying. But overall, this is still a really good figure, and I would recommend getting it. The only problem is, just like I said, those things with the robot mode. But all the other modes I think are really cool. But yeah, that is my review for Transformers Earthrise Snapdragon. I will see you guys for the final review later today. Bye.